All right. So what I'm going to try and do is each and every fight that we stop, go through each player and see are they positioned to do what needs to be done for the comp generally. All right. So with Orisa Sig, your main focus should be to the start of each fight should be to place your shield near a corner. So, and the reason that is because whenever the shield breaks, your team needs a place to hide behind, right? So we should be thinking placing shield near corners. That's going to become big, especially on like University, I think. If I remember correctly, I've watched Scrim VOD like 3 times already. So I've seen way too much of you guys right now. I love you guys just that much. Alright, so right now, first shield is thrown. Are we positioned to do what we need to do? Well, to figure that out, what is our comp supposed to do? Here we have decent amount of shield break. We're not like a shield breaky comp, but we have a decent amount of shield break. We're running Reaper, we're running Hanzo. So we could play this in a couple ways, right? Like we talked about in Phantom's Rod review, we could have double flanks, or we could have Reaper flank and Hanzo stay mid, like with the team and shield break. We could run a couple of things here. I like the double flank route, really, especially with maps like high ground like this. That's something that you guys can be discussing in spawn, and when tournament and league time comes, we will have set plans because we will have a map pool, and so we don't have to like make a plan for every single map in Overwatch. We'll have 6, 7, or 8 maps to choose from, and can actually, work out strategies and such. But just generally, if you guys like have this high ground that you can flat out abuse, we want our Hanzo on that high ground. So if that's the case, like we talked about before, they're running Orisa Ryan. What does Orisa Ryan hate? Distance, right?
Range.
Yep, range. So are we positioned to take on these guys at range? With that first shield, hell no. All right. He's thinking we're running right into right. I know he said whoops, but still. Um, this means we can't take this fight, and it's okay to admit we can't take this fight. We need to wait 8 seconds, right? Because now we're throwing. If we go up and attack Reinhardt face to face with our comp, we're throwing. Um, oh yeah, and just so when you listen to this cord, I know you're not here, but I'm gonna talk to you like you are. Um, I'm not a guy who just straight up makes fun of people, but I will just call it like I see it, kind of guy. So don't take anything I say personally. Just we're here to have fun, but I am gonna call it like I see it. So, yeah. So this is a pretty much throwy shield. We can't we with this we cannot take this fight, so we need to just wait. They're holding this choke. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We have to move them off this choke. So shield can go here, and we just kind of chill and force Reinhardt back. Once their shield breaks, which they 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 threw as well a bit, but I don't know when they threw that. I'm sure cooldown could be back up. Um, but we can't take this fight right now because we don't want to get in close to Reinhardt. Um, so yeah, bad shield here. Hanzo, you're off in Narnia, doing things. All right. Um, Sigma is off in Narnia. Now, this is a recurring theme of our main tank, and I get it's just, he's coming from ranked, and so he has to transition. So it's okay. But this was a very recurring theme that he would be far ahead of the team and not waiting for the team to regroup. So this is why, this is what we're trying to answer today. Were we in position to take this fight? The answer is hell no. All right. Hanzo is engaging. We have no shield. Sigma's not here. We shouldn't be taking this fight.
I'm gonna try and take a flank on him.
All right. So now we have a new shield. Are we in position to take this fight? We are. Like this is what should have happened on the first shield. We drop shield. We take away the resources. Ryan has to back up. Now we're in position to keep wearing down resources and probably make the second move to around here if they keep backing up, or here, right? So where's the Sig should be, front line, and this is, this is what you guys are looking for. Is like you're looking for this backwards movement that they're making. Now, so I'm not going to pay attention to comms. So I'm gonna keep working on positioning. I'll talk about comms next time. Um, and now we are we in position to take this fight? That depends on what we're trying to do. Like I said earlier, are we trying to get our Hanzo on high ground? We don't know. That's always a question mark. But the one consistent factor is our Reaper flanking. He called he was flanking. We need to be sitting on our hands and waiting for his flank to finish, right? It's waiting for him to get in position, um, which is going to be a big part of Wednesday in the comm structure. But we're in position. We're in a good place to wait for our Reaper to flank, so we need to be waiting. We shouldn't be trying to engage here.
No, you're good. I have a
There's
Reaper
a
on the
Reaper
right
on
side.
the
So we see that they get in our face. It's fine to just back up. It's fine to just leave, right? Um, they are in their win condition, which is Reinhardt in our face. Our win condition is like just because they're in our, just because they're here in our face, who cares? Our win condition is this guy. This guy completing his flank is our win condition because the second he gets onto them, they will be forced to not all look this direction. So it's okay to back up for a bit and then re-engage when Reaper engages, right? So that's the communication we need to be having. We're not in position to take this fight like we are. We should be backing up because we're not ready. We have Lucio, right? We can get in whenever we feel like it. So we just back up here.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
push on them while they're pushing.
Yeah. See, we didn't back up. They pushed on us. They die. Our Reaper is wasn't even in the fight. He didn't even
He's
get.
left out. He's gonna be left out to dry right now. He's gonna die.
Yep.
Everyone's gonna either like get
Oh, we
killed,
out, we
or I'm
out.
gonna speed them to spawn, and we're just gonna be hung out
We
to
should be
dry.
getting their
I mean,
shield.
he's here, but it's too late, right? And it's because, well, I mean, one they did a good job just running onto us when they should. That's their win condition as Reinhardt to run on top of us. So they did their part. We didn't do our part on backing up, right? So it's okay to back up, and it's okay for you guys to call back up, right? Now we didn't. This is the first time hearing it. It's the first time going over it, so it's not like you guys just inherently knew it, but now you do. It's okay. Like just that's why I always talk about thinking conceptually, knowing our rim condition for these. We're a ranged comp. If they are getting on top of us, it's okay to press the S key. It's okay to back up, right? Our win condition is pincering, like we've always been talking about. Our win condition is this guy. Um, he's the distraction for us. He is a huge distraction for us. He's the one that allows our comp to press W. We can't press. We are not a W comp. We can't press W without him, right? And then the second win condition, we get stuffed in this choke, right? Our second win condition is Hanzo. But we're stuck in this choke. He can't get to where we need him, which is high ground, or I mean, he could have gone over here, but I would not have recommended it because our Reaper's over there. We don't want, we want our DPS to be in two different directions if possible. So Hanzo should have just stayed main, which he did, but he decided to go 1v1 a Reaper for some reason and didn't tell anybody. Um, so he was in the right spot, but he did the wrong thing, and then we didn't wait for Reaper's flank to complete. Right? So we weren't in position to take that fight because we didn't know our win condition was to stay the hell away from their team until our Reaper is able to close in on them. And so, that's in this comp. Just I'll just go ahead and say like Wednesday, Nox will be the main caller in these double shield comps when he's Reaper
Shields down before they get our shields down. We gotta focus our
because
shields
he's the
more.
one who knows the timing better than anybody because he's the one engaging.
True.
Um, nope, not
Like
gonna
they
talk
shouldn't have
about it.
been able to push
Talk
up
about
on
it
us
Wednesday.
like that because they should have been out of shield before us.
All right, I'll stick front with you guys and break their shield.
All right, so we changed the game plan. I'll talk about Wednesday as to why we shouldn't have, but we changed the game plan. But we're here, right? So let's execute it properly. We're playing Shield Break now with Reaper. All right, the goal remains the same. We want to keep our distance. That's why this plan is inherently bad. We want to keep our distance because we still have 4 ranged, right? So the game plan should still be to play ranged, but now they have a harder time getting on top of us you know. But the game plan should still be ranged, so we still need to do it properly.
Taking damage before we're 6, so we gotta stop doing that too. Fleeting shield.
Be looking at shield near a corner. They're giving us space. That's great. They're just giving it to us. They shouldn't be, but they are. All right. So, this is a much better spot. We have walls to hide behind when the shield breaks, so that's good. Our Hanzo has just straight up free access to high ground now. So our win conditions are being met. Now our Reaper should be looking to deploy himself, which at this point he's going to be finding another Reaper. That's cool because their Reaper should lose that duel because Lucio can go help. So that's the 2v1. We take that. That means we sit here and chill for a bit. Now for supports, Baptiste mainly, and then the next map, or whenever we play Zenyatta, we'll talk about. So this applies to Baptiste and Zenyatta, really. What you should be looking for, and what the tank should be looking for in their shield placement, is to allow the both of you to have a wall to hide behind, so something like this, and direct line of sight to their shields. That's the ideal shield placement for the tanks. So you guys can pelt their shield and have cover to duck behind. So you should be in the back, in the back, as far back as you can, but that still allows you to accomplish that goal. So that's what I want you to be thinking about, is Baptiste and Zenyatta. So you shouldn't have to be in the middle of the team, right? You can accomplish the same goal from back here. You don't have to be around this corner, right? You don't have to be anywhere near the middle of the team. Both of you can accomplish your goals from distance. That's why you're here on this comp.
Reaper flanking.
There's a May
And because that happens a lot, because I see Volatile often getting caught up inside the team when you have no reason to be. Even though the team makes bad rotation sometimes, there are still spots that you can play where you could have just chilled the whole time and just healed and been safe. But maybe we'll see those if time allows. So this is one right here where I know you jumped and to drone him. That's cool. Didn't have to jump over the May wall. You actually could have just sat on top of it, or just kept jumping up above the May wall and healing him. You got your drone, which is good, but you could have just sat on top of the May wall and started healing him. Didn't have to go over the May wall. You don't need to put yourself in danger. Never put yourself in danger for a tank. For anybody.
wall behind. May wall behind. Break
Yeah.
it. Break it. Okay, you're good. You're good.
Yep.
Mm.
Count
I
ults.
got
Both
Count
tanks.
ults. What do they use?
So that's the gist for that map. The other bytes are basically the same.
Wanna go within that May or
Alright.
or
So this fight,
what
are
about
we in
range?
position, will we be in position to do what we want, which is ranged and to wear out the resources? They're on Reinhardt again. That's #1 plan, to stay away from them. And now we're on Zenyatta. We definitely just want to stay range because we can't speed away from them now because they have a Lucio. So now we're screwed if they get on top of us. We don't escape. So now we just want to go ahead and play. Yep, we don't want to touch you. We're going to kite you the whole way and wear out your resources, and by the time you get to us, you're dead.
So we're going.
That's the thought process every time. That's just basic. That's just how you run the comp, and that's how you should be expecting. That's everyone on the team should know that that's the win condition. So every call that we make needs to be thinking about keeping range, run away until Reaper and Hanzo make the play. We can press W when Reaper tells us to, right? And then that W, and what backing up also does is opens up space for Hanzo, because say if we cap point, if we were to hold here, they have to cross this whole field, right? to get to you guys, and that's free. That's free real estate for Hanzo. That's just shots. He's going to, that's giving him time to pick off somebody. So that puts them in a lot of danger, and that's what they did to us on Rialto A when we were on defense. Is their Hanzo held that high ground, and he had free reign, but they weren't able to capitalize on a lot of things that he did.
Hanzo, I'm gonna halt over their shields here.
Thought we were going high
For some
ground.
free shots.
We're going high ground.
Oh, we're going
Left
high,
side.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, go. Go left. Go left.
Hey, Lucio, careful of boops, careful of boops.
Check on my settings real quick. Okay, cool.
Yep, they're booping.
I'm going all the way around.
Okay.
So the shield should be around the corner. Yep. So are we poised to take this fight? This is, I think, the only fight I noticed where we were. This is excellent. All right, we're on high ground. They can't touch us. They can't do anything. They just sit here and take the fire that you guys are dishing out on them. They lost this fight the second they let us on high ground. They lost this fight. Korg had some excellent halts too, but even then, they just lose here. They can't win
He's on me.
physically because we just do more damage than they do because we have high ground and we can just back up and get healed, and they can't go anywhere to get healed.
I'll keep the Reaper at bay.
Let's contest point. Contest point.
Alright, so we've made a movement here. So this is another thing, like that's what I noticed volatile, right? You could have just stayed on high ground. Kitty, you're in an excellent spot. This is exactly where you should be. Hanzo's in a good spot. Our Reaper, so this is, another thing. Korg probably pulled the trigger too early, or our Reaper rotated late, I'm not sure. Actually, I think he was dueling this guy. So I don't think it's like his fault or anything. He did see Reaper, which, he can't just run, he shouldn't just run straight into a Reaper. You should definitely be wary of him even as Reaper. So anyway, like I was looking at, is the timing okay? The timing was, I think, is acceptable for what it was. He did have an obstacle to go through, so that's fine that he's late. Korg dropped, like point-wise, he dropped on time, and I think everything would have been fine. The perfect, the ideal world would have been Reaper comes over here. He says, "Okay, guys, attack now." Right? Because he's pushing in, and then we drop at the same time. That's the ideal. But I think for everything that happened, we engaged at the correct time. We did things wrong, right? Korg didn't have to drop in the middle point here. He could have just stayed right here with this Sigma. With this, it would have been nice if he stayed with his tanks here. And Volatile, he should have stayed up on high ground, and then Phantom and Zenyatta, Phantom and Kitty are in the right spots. So I would say Korg and Volatile are in the incorrect spots. I would probably argue that Colo, you could have stayed on high ground as well. You didn't have to drop. If Arissa is going to drop, you don't need to drop with her right now. So,
Oh,
Yeah, this is
Left here.
so now Kitty, you drop. Now this is terrible. Now this is bad.
Left or
All right, remember we want to stay away. You're support. You don't need to be on point. You have no business being on point when you can do the same job from safety, right? So think about doing your job from safety. Your job is to shoot them and shoot their shields from a safe spot from a distance. That allows you to still do your job for the team, which high ground 99% of the time always does, because it gives you view of the whole team and safety. So shouldn't have dropped there.
okay.
That's what you're thinking is this as a team comp. This is what we're thinking. Stay away from them. The only people that need to be up front in anyone's faces are the tanks. And then if we have May, then May. But that's it. Everyone else stay away. And then the engagement is when our Reaper tells us to engage. And then Hanzo, you're looking to capitalize on the space that the team is giving you, either high ground or off angles that the team gives you, right? Like we talked about, yes, the VOD review, in your VOD review, the space that we own, contestable space, and the space that they own. You know, right? They gave us this space. It was contestable at the beginning of the map, always is, but they gave it to us, and now you're taking advantage of it. And that's what you're looking to do. That's your job. Every time, that's what you're thinking. That's your role. And everyone needs to know that that's your role and help you accomplish your role. And that's with everybody. That's how 6 people come together into one objective, working towards one goal.
Run, I'm going around.
Oh, sir.
So because of our initial
Focus
high
on
ground spot, we should win, but we when it's harder, like we made it harder than we should have, right? Kitty had no business being on point. You wouldn't have got booed by Ryan, and then you wouldn't have got killed by Mora. You would have just been chilling up here, calling discords, and doing Zen things. And then, you know, Baptiste, you could have been up here, and this main wall was going to break. You could have been here and just pumping down heals to the team, right? Just relative safely. Your job would have been so easy here. You would have been in zero danger this whole time. This whole fight, you would have been perfectly fine.
May.
Right now.
May.
May. I'm
There you
down.
Keep your nerve.
Get these
Okay,
people out of here.
Get Weeble, get
His
Weeble.
halts were massive that fight.
There you go.
Yeah, get Weeble, he's up on,
Good
he's
job.
up on.
Teleport.
Reaper.
He's dead, he's dead.
There's Reinhardt on the pit, so be careful of him.
Get to Ryan.
I want to push up a little bit.
Let's post
All right. Will we be poised to do what we want for this
stuff on the
fight?
right.
Don't be in the room with the May though.
We want to use the distance as long as we have.
So even he realizes that's what the case is, but we don't act on it, and he doesn't act on it all the time. But you know that's the gist. Distance. So now they're in our face. This is cool, but this is what we want, right? We started every time you hold, or every time you gain the advantage, every time you gain point, every time you win a fight on payload, you want to push up, and you want line of sight to their team so you can drain their resources as they're coming in. This is what everyone should be doing, which is, so we're like inherently we're doing the right thing. We're all here, we're all shooting them as they come in because Ryan's shield is taking, because you know Ryan's shield starts taking damage from a distance. Arista starts, you know, losing some armor or whatever, and we're poking for ult charge. This is the poke phase of the fight. But mainly, the big thing is this guy is taking damage and his shield's taking damage. That's the big thing. So he can't press W like he would like. So I would say everyone is fine here except our Baptiste, who is in the middle point. You should be, again, Zenyatta's in the perfect position. He's back. You know, his team's up here. Zenyatta's over here. That's exactly what it should look like. He's nowhere near the fight. You don't want to be near fight as a support. You want to be away from the fight. You want to be in the fight, but away from the fight as a support.
That's where I wanted to be on the high ground, but I knew if I went where Zen was, we were just going to get walled off, so I wanted to be in a position where either only one of us would get walled off from them. I figured they were going to put the wall behind the tanks.
Fair enough. And I get that. And that's a good, very good reason. And as a team, we should know in the future that if there is a May present, when she gets within range, to not be in a choke. So that's just an inherent team thing. It's good that you were thinking about that. It's good that you're ready to be protective of your tanks, but they should know. And as Korg figured out on the King's Row, you know, he approached the choke before 15 seconds and gets walled off immediately, without, you know, pressing tab and knowing that there's a May. That's just May. That's just 101 as a tank, especially if you know a team is running a May or has been running a May, right? You just don't approach a choke until you know that there's a May or not, and then if there's a May, you don't play near chokes. You don't play in a place where you can't at least walk around the wall or your team can't come help you. So yeah, I get it, but May is back here. We're here. We're safe for May. She can't do anything. It'd be awesome if you were over here peltering their shield with bullets, just like Zenyatta is. Just wearing down his resources. You are part of the shield break. You are a massive part of the shield break. You and Zenyatta are the shield break in this comp, and you guys do enough to make sure Ryan is uncomfortable.
I'm gonna
So
actually.
that's your
Taking their
job.
back net.
So I see you. I mean, that's just a mechanical thing. I saw you spamming right click when no one had even taken damage yet. You could have been shooting. You could have been shooting Ryan that time.
Back up.
Could still be shooting Ryan, right? No one's... Kitty's fine. There's a mini right there he could get, and um, yeah, he's fine.
Hold
He's
the
not. He
mill.
shouldn't die here.
Hold the mill.
Just be shooting
Use
that
your
Ryan. See, like even without you shooting for that long time, Ryan's shield is cracked. So maybe if you're shooting that time his shield breaks and they don't get to they his shield breaks and we just do this, right? That's instant. That's instant death for this comp for their comp. So be thinking DPS as BAP.
Corner if you need to.
Um, so the fight is beginning to start. Are we poised to take this fight? Right? It happens this quickly. Right? We need to be ready for our win condition. Our win condition is Reaper doing Reaper things. I don't even know where Reaper is right now. So that's not a good sign. Our Hanzo is on point. That's okay. Actually, I think it actually is fine because he can just run up the high ground if he wants. I actually want, be thinking off angle. So if I would have known that they were going right, you probably could have been like up here.
On stairs, right?
Yeah, either like back here on stairs and shooting. I think that would have been like perfect. Like if you knew that they were going right.
I think I was trying to take the flank around them, like on the right entrance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm going under.
Oh, okay. This is where
I
you
don't
go
know if it's
underneath.
like-
Yeah, you were underneath. You're underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. That should if you're gonna do that, that should happen way earlier, right? That's a long route,
Yeah.
and so you're gone for this whole fight.
What
Yeah,
ults do
well,
we
that-
have?
Like, and Korg as a tank should know not to be playing right here. He could have just been playing like 2 steps behind, and Maywald has no effect. And really, it doesn't have an effect now. He could just walk away. But that's him also not knowing where his Baptiste is, which is going to be part of our communication. We should always be letting our tanks know where we are as supports. Kitty, you're in the fight. You don't need to be. All right, this is you could do the same job from right here, this little corner right here, and you're safe. All right. So
Okay.
get your butt out the fight. That your tank's getting walled off isn't your job. You don't care. That's not your fault. So yeah, that would be how we would want to take these fights. So I'm just trying to draw out the mental picture that we need to be having as we look at these fights, where everyone should be and what we should be thinking as a team. This is how we need to approach every single fight. And it's okay to be predictable for now, right? They know if they know our Reaper's flanking. Okay, who cares? What are they gonna do about it? They can't stop it. Like if they devote resources to stopping our Reaper flanking, then they never come to point because now they don't win the fight on point. So who cares if they know that Reaper's coming? They can't stop it. So just know that every fight Reaper's flanking. Every fight Reaper's going to be the one calling for the engage. Like when to press W at least. So the poking and all that is up to the tanks. Is going to start well before Reaper's ready, but the actual we are taking this fight right now is on Reaper's call. So we'll go over that Wednesday.
I picked a really bad flank.
Yeah,
Baptiste
Lamps
ult?
out.
it's a fine flank if you would have done it earlier. Right? You could have done it the second you lost. You guys won the fights, last fight. And then you could have just been sitting underneath on the stairs, and then you would have seen them walk above you, and then just stalked behind them, just crouched behind them and called, So he could have and that's just maybe map geometry, not knowing the map, right? Knowing that is a super long flank. It's a great flank because they're never going to expect it, but it's super long, so you're never going to be available to your team.
Mm-hmm.
And then and what. If we could have done better, or not better, but just different. Our tanks were sitting right here. They could have said, "Hey, they're going right door or left door, so you can sit here." Or they're going left door, or they're going right door, right. So
Yeah.
your team can call that and help you out there, and they should. That's again, these are just basic things that we need to be working on and getting right. There's just basic communication that needs to happen, and knowing the goal of the comp is going to help us work towards that.
Left side, left side, left.
So So even with
Go
our
ahead.
tanks getting walled here, what's what's the reason why this shouldn't have even happened? Any guesses why this shouldn't have even happened right here?
Cause they were running the May and they should not be in choke.
Besides that,
We were pushed up too far in general.
why were you pushed up too far?
Their team's not together.
Why were you pushed up too far? Like, what do you mean? Elaborate.
Well, with the Ryan, our main goal is to make distance, right? And
Yes,
if we're
sir.
like right up there on the choke, then that's like too close.
That's exactly it. Yep. So this shouldn't
I'm
have
so
even
smart.
happened. You're genius. You're like your off tanking is pretty legit. Korg should be honored to have you beside him.
Heart.
So, yep, Kodo is right. We have no reason to even be here. It's okay to be here, like, at first poking, right? But the second they draw too close, just kite back a bit, right? We could, this is not a bad spot to hold. Put a shield right here. Your Zenyatta has this nice cozy corner to sit through. Your Baptiste can heal from right up here. Reaper is, it feels like we're being suffocated. We are, but that's what we're playing for. Hanzo has a nice some shots up here. He could even be over here if he wanted to. It's not the best spot, but he could be on high ground if he wanted to, just to take a different angle. You don't. There is being predictable, and then there's just repeating the same thing over and over. So it's okay. Like if Hanzo decides to switch sides, he has the mini to keep him up if he needs it, and then he can double jump back here if he needs to get some shots from his Baptiste real quick, So, he's okay. He can take different angles if he chooses, but that's what Hanzo should be looking for, off angles, and as we're holding back here, their team has to open up angles for Hanzo, right? So that's all this space that they have to cross is what Hanzo's looking for. So you're looking for all that space that your team is forcing them to cross. That's Hanzo. And then Reaper's calling the engage, and that's what's going to stop us from being suffocated because they're going to start having to deal with Reaper, and so then we just march on up, right? So that's how this works. It's an ebb and flow. We start up when we have advantage. We start up, we poke, poke, poke. You know, we back up a bit, poke, 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 poke. We back up a bit, poke, 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 poke. Right now, if we fail this, we die. There is a limit. There is a time limit. But by the time by the time they reach down here, Reaper is ready to do his thing, right? This is how we buy time for, if our Reaper wants to do something, this is how we buy time for him to do it. This is how we buy time for Hanzo to find picks, right? To find picks. And this is also how we buy time for our Baptiste and Zenyatta to break Ryan Shield. So we have essentially 3 win conditions, right? Um, they have So, that's how this comp comes together. We have Reaper flanking. We have us backing up so Hanzo can wear out, either get picks or further wear out resources by making them not being able to press W comfortably, because if he does, he shoots over their shields. And then we have Baptiste, Zenyatta, Orisa, and Sigma breaking their shields as they go forward. So they have all of these things depleting their resources. So that's why it's okay to just back up, as long as you just don't, as long as you just don't make a beeline and use up all of your space that you can, right? There's like here I can immediately see 3 things we can do. We can here and then here and then here, right? Um, those are rotations that we can do, and that's keeping us,
Well,
that just buys time for the comp to work, and that's what you're looking for. Their comp is we get to you, you die comp. That's exactly what they're running. So there is a fail condition in that if they get to us, we die. So that's why we play distance. So that's what this comp is looking to do. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Thank you,
Yep.
Kolo. Thank you,
I
Kitty.
got you.
Yes.
Thank you, Knox.
I'm here, mic muted.
Do what?
Yeah, I'm on push to talk.
Thank you, people.
Heart.
So we have.
I love you guys.
Lamps out, lamps out.
Okay.
So yeah, we're in their face.
Lamps out, left side.
If they were, this
Left
is
side,
this
left.
is their win condition, right? And our win condition has arrived in what they just did. That's our Reaper, right? Their Reaper succeeded in doing what we want to do, so we lose here. That's as
Left
simple
side.
as that.
Fine, Ron, weeble.
Now, Kitty, you shouldn't have, we know you shouldn't have been there, so I'm not gonna harp on it, but yeah. And then Korg shouldn't have been there either, so. But we can see, like, if we were holding here, well, who cares? Yeah. Okay, yeah, you can come over here. We're just gonna shoot you. And then that brings me to another point. Knowing their win condition, like we said, they want to get up close, but they also have Reaper. He's the X factor. He's the one that's going to be roaming just like ours, so we need to be tracking him. So it's like as a support, like if I'm playing Mercy or if I'm playing any support, I am very anal if there's a Widow. I'm extremely anal. I want to know where she is at all times, and I will spam comms, and you will not get a word edgewise until I know where Widow is, because that's my fail condition. If you want heals from me, you dare to tell me where Widow is, or else I'm not poking. And I'm just going to sit behind this wall until someone tells me where Widow is. Right? You should be like that when there's a Reaper on the field, and when there's a Widow on the field. Know the enemy team's win condition, and know that you guys don't need to even play this game until you guys have answered this question, or at least have brought it up and go, okay, we don't know where he is, so be on the lookout for him. And then someone actually be on the lookout for him. Don't just fall into the bystander effect, where everyone expects someone else to do the job. No. Freaking find out where he is, and that can be, if we had a Lucio, that's a Lucio's job. Generally, it is the job of the supports to just know where everyone on the field is, because they have the most downtime. So supports, you should always, that should be your job, knowing the win condition and bringing it up at least of, we don't know where Reaper is. All right, so because if I were them, knowing that we were holding here, then Reaper would obviously be up here. All right, that's where I would tell our Reaper to go. So just up here and then dropping down on this. So just be wary of that and know that that's their win condition, and that's what they're going to be trying to do. And you guys need to be anal about that, and just make sure you guys know where
Weeble,
Reaper is.
fine, I don't know what's up.
Reaper.
Weeble took 3 down. Weeble took 3 down.
And if Reaper ever gets into you guys, he's #1 target no matter what. Reaper cannot. You guys have to force his Wraith out and force him out of the fight. So Reaper is always target. If you ever hear anyone call Reaper, immediately stop what you're doing and kill Reaper.
Reaper's
That's a
one
fight
shot.
loss.
We're gonna go. We need. Reaper.
Alright, so are we poised to take this fight? Like we should. 4, 5, 6, so it depends on how we want to take the fight. Again, I'm assuming I'm saying our win condition is flank Reaper. So Reaper is here. That's fail check 1. We are not poised right here to take this fight. We don't have space for Hanzo, so he's fine behind shield. Like, he's fine right here where he is. Sigma is in spawn. Zenyatta is in spawn. Her Baptiste is fine. She's in the right spot, right? She wants to be away and she wants to be in view of the shield, but a safe distance to do her job. So she can just hide over here and then fire this way. So she's fine. And then so Zenyatta and Bap, I would generally you guys can say buddy system with each other. Where one is, the other one probably can stay. Baptiste will be the roamer, right? So it's okay. It's just he has to fit the situation. But generally, like the start of fights, you two can buddy up and be the buddy system. Like where each other are, that's where you need to be shooting shields. Because that's your job, is shooting shields.
Alright.
Yep. And so, timing-wise, we are not in position, and then Reaper-wise, we're not in position. And that's just not knowing that this is what we're doing, but now you guys know this is what we're doing. Needs to be just default, this is what we're doing. Um, and the fight does not begin until these conditions are met.
Reaper's in this corner right here. Go for Reaper.
I'm set.
Oh, I saw you.
And that was like just characteristic Korg Moore rushing ahead and leaving his team behind.
Hold.
Just Zenyatta, you're gonna have to ult the Reaper's ult, okay?
Okay.
Baptiste, let's get your ult down.
So we're actually all, oh, see, it looks, see, this is how it should look every time. This is how it should look. This is just the start of this comp. This is how the fights work. This is beautiful. Whether it works or not, I think it does work, but, you know, I'm not sure, but this is beautiful, right? This is how it should look.
Can actually
Main?
make shields here. Yeah.
Going left.
Now, it depends on what we want to do. Does Reaper want to go high ground? Right, he can. But if so, we need to sit here, which is what we're doing, and just wait. So I would expect us to just sit here and poke. That's all we should do. Unless, like, now this can change based on our condition, right? If we're looking to halt Sig, halt Window, halt Dragon, whatever, that's fine. So if they're in position, then you guys just do it. If they're all together for a Sigma, yeah, we just go for it. That's fine. We tell the Reaper to play with us, and this is what we're doing. So it's not like flanking is the must-do thing every time, but it's the default thing. But you guys are free to change it as you see fit. You know, if maybe Reaper has ult, maybe he doesn't need to flank. Maybe we can just halt Reaper ult right here. You know, maybe we can just go for it. We can halt Sig, Reaper ult underneath him, right? Like Reaper doesn't need to flank for that. He can just do it. So you guys can make that call. But the idea is that the default things are playing at range and Reaper flanking and Hanzo taking advantage of the space that's given, or the default things, and then Zenyatta Bap shooting shields. And then Orisa Sig holding corners and positioning in places where our supports are safe enough to shoot shield and then duck behind a corner as needed.
Perfect.
I'm gonna.
So yeah, we started this fight again with our Reaper. He could have just either been with us at this moment, or we wait on him and then do this. But we luckily win this fight.
Ground on him. You guys push.
Because yeah, 2 people are dead and Reaper's not even in this fight. We took this fight 5v6 and we won. So we got lucky. But to make it even cleaner, we either wait for Reaper or we have Reaper play with us and do this. But either way, we need to be engaging at the same time. Some way. We always need to be engaging at 6. So that's what I'm trying to get across. Whatever we choose, engage at 6.
Let me know when you guys are
With
ready
this
to push
Rissa.
forward.
Perfect. Reaper,
Reaper,
get ready.
Reaper.
We're not right.
Careful, we're not charging.
It's on me.
That's fine.
Alright, so we cap. So I guess we didn't kill Ryan. I think he got out, so that's fine. So now, you know, we can't... I mean, we're not really in a position to, you know, take an angle to where we can fire on their team because they are so close already. At least Ryan is. Like, I mean, really, who cares? It's just Ryan and Orisa. We could still do this if we want. They're not going to kill 2 people. No, 2 people aren't going to kill 6 people. So it's whatever. But I understand being cautious, so yeah, we just post up here. We get to deplete less of their resources, but that's okay. We're in the phase of the game where ults are in play, so it's fine. We have a play we can run here. You know, we have halt Reaper, we have halt Sig. We have, if you really want to deplete their resources, we can let them. You know, we fight till maybe we Reaper ult. If that doesn't win, we back up, we bongo. Then they can't push, right? Again, depleting resources. And then the same thing happens. We still have Hanzo sitting up here who has to you know, if they want to really walk in on a Hanzo that's shooting on high ground, then they're free to, right? There's still the danger. So they, you know, we forced them to have to play into our plan and make a play to beat us. So this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. We're poking. We're
Yes,
poking.
well,
This is
We're down their
great.
shields.
They're yep. We're wearing down their shields. They're letting us do it, which is
Be ready
great.
to backpedal.
See, Reinhardt has to stop. See, this is what you're looking for. He has to stop. He can't go into all that spam. Reinhardt's shield is weak to all that spam. That's what he hates. So they have to stop. So all that poking just bought us 5 extra percentage, right? All we did was poke. So if you guys do that effectively, you know, you guys can cut down a whole fight on a control point because they have to do this right here. So all that waiting ends up biting them in the butt. It's showing, it doesn't, here, but in general, it will end up biting them in the butt.
I can look
Uh,
for
I'm gonna
they
halt
will
in the
not
signal
have-
here.
So we call a play, cool, but remember, defaulting to, this is default, but we should have called a play a long time ago so our Reaper doesn't waste his time going over here, right? So now we're, again, 5v6. He said a play, but we talked about it when they were in choke already. That should have been happening a long time ago. So now we're
Halt in the
5v6.
signal. They're gonna go left.
So now we have to get
Going left.
lucky again to win this
I'm
fight.
expecting every vote they might not have Reinhardt.
Tell me when you halt.
Because now we didn't even let our Reaper know who was to the right that they were going left. He's not even in this fight, right? Come on, guys, So, and again, we need to be playing distance. Here we are. In his face. We don't want this. We should be rotating. Now they're coming left. We could, rotate over here, right? Now the point changes. We just play diagonal from where they are. We can just rotate right here. Boom. Zenyatta and Bap can sit nice and comfortable in here. And Reaper can just mosey on his way and press Q.
Halting.
And then he tells us when he's pressing Q, and we just charge in. So, it's cool we engage early. We force out beat, but look at, just general positioning. Look at where we are. We're in their face. We don't want to be in front of a Reinhardt. So,
Get ready for Zenyatta.
does that make sense, guys? Does
See.
what we're
Yeah.
wanting to do make sense?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, cool. Then I won't just harp on that. Was there anything on Rialto I wanted to look at? So Farah things. I'm not going to go over the map, but Farah things, like we saw, I think, since like Farah into double shield is just an anomaly right now, no one really knows how to deal with it. But I think for us, like I'm pretty confident in our Mercy Widow that we could deal with it. Now this spot, like this map is just inherently bad for Widow because it's just so small, so close quarters, not really long sight lines. So I think a Kree would be better. So if we run into a Pharah, if we're playing double shield into a Pharah, we don't need a Mercy pocket, I don't think, because Kree can just play with us because we have double shield. So that's plenty of time to post up. So where you want to post up is like, assuming, so I'm assuming we swapped to Kree, so we're coming from spawn, so we lost point. We sit in a place, so like choke is either one of the hallways or choke is not bad because of this high ground, this vertical wall here. And that's what you're looking for with Farah is vertical wall, so she can't just shoot. So she has less way, less pathing to shoot onto you. It's harder for her to hit, and her shots are predictable. So that's where we want to post up, and all we're doing, this is just how you have to play. You have to give your Kree time to hit his shots. So we post up, we use your shields. Sigma, you do your best to block Farah rockets. That's why you also post up in places with chokes and places where Farah can only shoot for one direction. Is Sigma shield can easily block that. So the Sigma shield be blocking Farah, and all you're looking for is for Farah to start moving away because she has to start respecting the Kree because she can't do anything against Kree behind 2 shields. Right? So if we're running double shield, we just post up in a spot where it has ceilings and easily blockable Sigma barriers to fire rockets, and our Kree just tries to kill her. That's what we're looking for, sightlines for Kree to kill. If we're not playing double shield, I would suggest Kree have a pocket, and then you break the team up into 2 cores. So whatever you're playing, Ryan Zarya, Winston Ball, Winston Diva, whatever, uh, Kree goes one way, the team goes another way, and Kree plays around corners and duels a Pharah by himself. Like Pharah's not going to come close to a Kree, not a pocketed Kree. That's insane. He has to be extremely confident to do that. So like he could play from that mega over there, or from this hallway, like this doorway or this doorway, while the team is, somewhere, again, somewhere like here around the wall, or just touching point and contesting point and fighting the ground fights, knowing that um, they're just trying to survive until either until they find a massive advantage on the ground, or Kree kills the Pharah. So what we're hoping for is if Pharah tries to fire on the core, then she's not firing at Kree, and Kree just kills her. Now, if she's firing and dueling Kree, then it's a 4v4 on the ground, and you guys just have to outplay the enemy team. So that's what you're looking for. Does that make sense? Cool.
Yep.
That makes 100% sense.
Cool. All right. Okay. Don't think I need to. I think that's gonna be basically it for the VOD review. I think I can just talk about with May, chokes. So with May, it's kind of the opposite. You want to play up until well, so you want to play near a choke and threaten the choke with Maywall, right? And then you want to start kiting. If they have Lucio, it's going to be tough, but it's also going to be tough for them because we have May. So it ends up being who runs their comp better. So even if they have a Lucio, we can play up, still not in their face. You're still kiting backwards the whole time. The whole time just be kiting backwards after Maywall is used. So we play up front until we use Maywall, then we start backing up, right? And we keep, as we're backing up, we're Maywalling, and we're giving time again for, if we're having Reaper, the same thing. If we have Reaper, it's still the constant. He can still do his flanks, and he still tells us when to press W. That's not going to change. In this comp, like we decided to run Widow because just in case they had Pharah. The same thing applies to Widow, just like our Hanzo. Our Widow got a lot of value because they had to cross this space. That's scary. If anyone who's played against a Widow knows that that's scary, that you're forced to cross a space with an uncontested Widow around. Well, they had Hanzo, but still, even with Widow, they had to play a certain way, and we got a ton of value and almost full health, right? So the same concept applies. Like Nox, when your Widow is, the game plan is to kite. So the field, all this field opens up for our Widow to shoot them in, and they have to respect. Our Widow can play from here, right? And she can rotate. I mean, if she wants to get ballsy, she can rotate here, assuming, maybe they're not running a Hanzo, maybe they're running Reaper. So they can't touch Widow, so she can just get behind them and dome them. She can get, she can do that if she wants, but things like that, the constant stays the same. And with May, it's just the only thing that changes is that now we don't have a Reaper engaged, but we're kiting, waiting on our May to hit a wall or our Widow to hit shots. So that's what you're playing for there. So it's simple. Not simple to talk about, but always hard to do. And then the same thing, Bat Zen, you guys are looking, hopefully our tanks are placing their shields properly, and the shield should be in front of you and allowing you to stay behind a corner, something like here. These are even fine. They're not the best, but they're fine. And then depending on where card is also good to hold around the corner, right? And so you guys are shooting shields. You guys are a shield break, so we need you guys doing DPS. So, yeah. So that's gonna be it for like the comp portion of the VOD review. So any questions?
Nope.
Cool. So y'all completely understood everything I said. No questions at all. Easy clap.
I do not have a question.
99%.
99%. What's the 1%? I'm a perfectionist. Not really. But what is it?
Eh.
What's the 1%, Kitty?
Come on.
Why do you back up when you have a May? Wouldn't you want to threaten that? Wouldn't you want to threaten with wall? Like, why would you back up with a May? You take space with, wouldn't you want to take space with, like, using that wall as, like, if I wall you off, we win this fight?
Anybody want to answer that for me?
The comp that we're running is range, so we don't want to be up in their face.
Anybody else want to answer that for me?
I'm at a loss as well.
That's all I got.
Well, rip. That was the first thing I talked about. I literally said what
Wait,
you
what
just
was the
said,
question?
Kitty.
I might be able to make on it. Hold up.
When we have May, why do we run away? I heard you say with May, we just back up, we back up until May can find a wall. Wouldn't we use that wall to take space? Or why are we backing up? I'm just curious.
Are you talking about this particular spot?
No, just in general.
I think in this particular spot it was just so we have space for our widow.
Okay, maybe I didn't explain it well, but that was the first thing I said. But maybe I didn't explain it well. I said with this comp, we hold up close until we use Maywall, then we kite.
Okay, so I must have just misheard you. That was my
I
bad.
mean, I could have explained it poorly. I'm open to criticism. I'm not, I'm not perfect. I could have explained it poorly. That's okay. You don't have to be. You can definitely be truthful with me. I don't care. I welcome it actually. So if I explained it poorly, then that's my bad. But yeah, that was the first thing I said. Or at least I did. The first thing I tried to say. Maybe I said it wrong or said it poorly. But yeah. I mean, and it's also good that you thought that, right? Even though maybe I didn't say it poorly or maybe you just didn't hear. But I'm glad that you were observant enough to think that. Like, why would we back up when we have May? Because you're totally right. But you said threaten with wall, right? But what happens after wall? So you have to think about what happens if our May doesn't hit the wall, right? What if she misses the wall? Then we have to back up. We have to back up. We set up again. Our May tries to hit another wall. We back up. We set up again. Our May hits another wall, right? And at some point, there's no more backing up and you lose. So your Widow and your May have to come through. But that's Overwatch. That's just, it is a game of skill, unfortunately. That one team has to accomplish their objective to win. And our objective is to hit May wall and Widow to hit shots in this particular comp. Um, but that's that's how we're going to run it. If we run it efficiently, we get 2 or 3 May walls out of a fight before we lose, which is I like those odds. And our DPS are only going to get better and better and better and better the more we play. So,
Yeah, I would trust Nox over the pocket.
Yeah, I mean he killed it, dude. So he's been doing great for playing Widow. What, 3rd time in Scrim ever? So yeah, good job.
That was in my Widow.
Thanks.
So we're like everyone's doing fantastic. Like this, I don't know if you guys like remember this team, but this team rolled us twice before, and you guys took it to them this scrim. So like tremendous improvement. These guys play in leagues. They invited us to a league, so, like a month ago. So they have tournament experience. You guys don't, and you guys held your own. So that's looking good.
Are we
Looking
gonna
good for
join
the
a
future.
tournament?
Yep, we sure will. There are things on my checklist that I want us to get to make sure we're doing first. I had them in mind earlier. One was always pre-fight planning, always alt tracking. Um, there were like 2 more, but there are things on my checklist that I have that if we start doing consistently, then we'll start entering. But those 3 or 4 things that I had listed are basics that a team needs to do before they can before they should join a league. You can join a league and then you'll just get last place, and that's no fun. So I'm not. If I don't feel like we have a shot at doing well, then I'm not going to enter us into something. So I want to make sure that um, you guys are prepared enough, at least I feel, to go into the league before I just like throw you guys into one, because that wouldn't be right of me to do that. Just because we want to do it doesn't mean we should just yet, right? So
Okay, I was just curious.
yeah, but you guys are well on your way. Like I was hesitant to accept the invite because these guys asked us to scrim actually. We didn't ask them to scrim. They asked us to scrim this scrim, and I was hesitant because they waxed us before, but here we go. You guys murdered the scrim. So good job. Like,
I'm practicing on my what is it, ultra